Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahakodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Matthew chapter 24, around verse 3. And the header of this chapter reads, Signs of Hamashiach's Return, because Yahawashi Hamashiach is the true name of the Messiah, who the majority of people ignorantly refer to as so-called Jesus Christ. And he doesn't look like a so-called white man with stringy brown hair. He has the appearance of a dark-skinned Negro with a white woolly afro and beard, which you can read about in Revelation chapter 1. But this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, speaking of Yahawashi, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And this was Yahawashi telling his disciples in the past of the signs to look for, to know that it was about to be the end of the age of the rulership of the heathen nations and his second coming. But as it says in Romans chapter 15, everything written aforetime was written for our learning. Yahawashi is really speaking to his disciples today, because we're living in the last seconds of the age of the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, or the so-called white people, in Yahawashi's second coming to save his elect, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3 of the nation of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like the heathen nations, and to take down the rulership of the heathen nations and lay the groundwork for the kingdom of heaven, where the Israelites will rule for eternity, to be set up. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 7 to show some of the end time signs Yahawashi told us to look for. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And if you have that spiritual eye salve, you can see that these different signs are either taking place as we speak or in the process of taking place. And in this video, I'll be dealing with the famines, and I have 2 articles to document that famines are coming. And I did a video the other week dealing with famines, and some of the information from the article I used in that video may be in this video, but I've just got new information, not just dealing with America, but globally, to show that each passing day, we're getting closer and closer to deadly, destructive famines where millions of people are going to die off globally. But the first article I'll be going to is on endoftheamericandream.com, titled, Food Prices to Soar Higher as California Farmers Destroy Crops Because Dust Bowl Conditions Continue to Spread. Here's a map. What is happening in California right now is going to affect every man, woman, and child in the entire country. Today, California has 24.6 million acres of farmland, and the state produces more of our fruits and vegetables than anyone else by a very wide margin. So if agricultural production is dramatically reduced because of the endless mega drought that currently has the state in a death grip, that is going to be a major problem for all of us. If you visit the official U.S. Drought Monitor website, you will see that nearly all of California is experiencing either extreme drought or exceptional drought right now. Things have been so hot and so dry for so long that Governor Gavin Newsom has decided to declare a drought emergency in more than 2/3 of the counties in the state. The state is facing yet another hot, dry summer ahead, and the governor has declared a drought emergency in 41 of the state's 58 counties. More than 37 million Californians reside in these drought areas, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. This is without precedent, Newsom said at a news conference announcing the first 2 declarations in April, speaking from the bed of Lake Mendocino that has been reduced to arid, cracked clay. Not long ago, he would have been standing in under 40 feet of water. Oftentimes we overstate the word historic, but this is indeed an historic moment. Newsom is not exactly known to be a straight shooter, but in this rare instance, he is telling it like it is. And this isn't just a crisis, this is a major crisis of epic proportions that isn't going away anytime soon. Without enough water to function normally, many California farmers have already been faced with some absolutely heartbreaking decisions. For example, farmer Joe Del Bosque said that it was a sad day when he recently had to destroy 100 acres of organic asparagus. In Fresno and Merced counties, farmers are making tough decisions, abandoning thousands of acres of lower value high water crops like almond and asparagus fields for more valuable produce. It's a really sad day, Fresno County's Joe Del Bosque told the Bay Area News Group after destroying 100 acres of organic asparagus to divert precious water to more valuable melons. The water is so uncertain this year, we didn't think we'd have enough to carry it through. Del Bosque hasn't given up on this year completely yet. He is still hoping to salvage a melon crop, but he openly admits that he is taking a big risk by planting anything at all. We're taking a big risk in planting crops and hoping the water gets here in time, said Del Bosque, 72. So what happens if the water never arrives? For Del Bosque and countless other California farmers that have decided to risk planting crops, a potentially historic crop catastrophe could be looming. In Fresno County, another farmer named Daniel Hartwig isn't taking any chances. He has pulled out nearly 400 acres of prime production almond trees because there simply will not be enough water in the system to irrigate them. And listen to this, we're removing 15-year-old prime producing almond trees, said Daniel Hartwig of Wolf Farming in Fresno County. He said this is looking to be something very serious. And hey, there may be a slight reprieve and things bounce back, but these things happening here and across the planet are incrementally building up towards that mass famine, to where, like I said earlier, there's going to be mass death and misery for people all across the planet. We're pulling out almost 400 acres simply because there's not enough water in the system to irrigate them. And long term, we have no confidence that there would be water in the future. Wolf Farming buys water from the Wastelands Water District, a contractor of the federal Central Valley Project. 2 consecutive dry winters combined with environmental requirements on the CVP led the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation to allocate only 5% water supplies to Westlands and other contractors in February, and then to suspend even that amount a few weeks later. Hey, so it's not just crop failures leading to famines, there's also looking to be a famine of water as well. With the mega drought, California normally produces 81% of our almonds. Needless to say, the price of almonds is going to go up, and there are reports coming out all across the country of inflation leading to prices going up on things like meat and chicken, and as it's looking now on the price of vegetables, though this is coming because farmers are having to destroy their crops due to a lack of water and the mega drought. A lot. And it isn't just almonds that will potentially be in short supply. California produces 99% of our artichokes, 99% of our walnuts, 97% of our kiwis, 97% of our plumes, 95% of our celery, 95% of our garlic, and the list goes on and on. So pretty much damn near 100% in all these different crops. Without a doubt, this is a crisis that is truly national in scope. Over in Butte County, water levels in Lake Oroville have dropped dangerously low. The lake provides drinking water for 25 million California residents, but at this point the water is so low that houseboat owners are facing a mandatory removal order. Houseboats are being hauled out by the dozen as drought conditions are forcing big boat owners on Lake Oroville out of the water. Houseboat owners told CBS 13 they got letters saying their boats would be removed no matter what. The lake is down to one of the last launch ramps at Bidwell Canyon Marina. Boaters are forced to descend lower and lower to keep up with water levels. Any houseboat owner that did not willingly haul their boat away is being forced by the state to rent space in a nearby parking lot. And those houseboat owners may not be able to return to the lake anytime soon because water levels are expected to be significantly lower by October. One boat owner said they were given the choice of either hauling their own boats away or paying the state to rent the parking lot. Many were seen standing on the lake's basin, which would have been completely underwater just months ago. Forecasts indicate that by October, the reservoir, which provides drinking water for more than 25 million people, will see its lowest water levels for 4 decades. The drought just continues to get worse and worse. All over the state, you can find receding reservoirs with bathtub rings of newly exposed earth and crops withering in the fields as Dust Bowl conditions spread. Without any hope that things will turn around anytime soon, the California Department of Water Resources is warning that severe water restrictions may be instituted soon. Of course, California is far from alone. As you can see from the latest U.S. Drought Monitor map, this mega drought has gripped much of the western half of the country. Rivers and lakes are drying up. Millions and millions of acres of agricultural production are at risk, and the dust storms are starting to get so large that you can literally see them from space. Hey, doesn't sound like something little that's going on. And this is all happening because we're living in the last seconds of the last days of the rulership of the heathen nations before Yahushua makes his second coming and the kingdom of heaven is ushered in for eternity. And now I'm going to go to my second article on the economiccollapseblog.com titled, "The United Nations is Sounding the Alarm About the Dramatic Increase in Global Food Prices." And like I said earlier, it's not just crop failures and talks of food prices rising in America. It's happening globally. Because the judgment of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is coming to this planet globally for you people and your wickedness. Conditions are heading in the direction that we have been anticipating, and that is not good news at all. Food prices are rising at a very alarming rate, and at this point, even the United Nations is sounding the alarm. Most of my readers remember the global food riots that we witnessed in 2008 and 2011, and if conditions continue to deteriorate, we could soon be facing something even worse, much worse. Of course, this crisis has not emerged out of a vacuum. We struggled to feed the entire world, even in the best of years, and for a very long time I've been warning that we would eventually be facing extremely painful food prices and serious shortages of food in the poorer areas of the planet. But those running things just kept assuring us that everything would work out just fine somehow. Unfortunately, they were wrong. This week, even the United Nations was forced to admit that we are entering very dangerous territory after global food prices shot up for a 12th month in a row. And back in 2019 and 2020, the head of the UN Food Group said to expect mass food shortages and starvation across the planet, and that there could be close to 300 million people on the verge of starvation and death. A United Nations gauge of world food costs climbed for a 12th straight month in May, its longest stretch in a decade. The continued advance risks accelerating broader inflation, complicating central banks' efforts to provide more stimulus. Drought in key Brazilian growing regions is crippling crops from corn to coffee, and vegetable oil production growth has slowed in Southeast Asia. That's boosting costs for livestock producers and risks further straining global grain stockpiles that have been depleted by soaring Chinese demand. The surge has stirred up memories of 2008 and 2011, when price spikes led to food riots in more than 30 nations. Sadly, global food inflation appears to be accelerating. We are being told that last month's jump in prices was the largest in more than 10 years. Here in the Western world, we can just dig a little deeper into our pockets in order to pay our rising grocery bills, but best believe that these famines are coming to the United States of America as well. But in the poorest areas of the world, higher prices can mean the difference between eating and not eating. things have already gotten so bad that one UN official is warning that we have very little room for any production shock. We have very little room for any production shock. We have very little room for any unexpected surge in demand in any country. Abdulreza Abbasian, senior economist at the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, said by phone, any of those things could push prices up further than they are now, and then we could start getting worried. Of course, there are production shocks happening all over the globe at this point. The drought that is crippling agricultural production in Brazil and other South American countries has been absolutely devastating. And yesterday I wrote an entire article about how endless mega drought in the western half of the United States is forcing some farmers to destroy their crops. And we read about that in the previous article. So that's it with this article. You get the point. But hey, the writing's on the wall. We're getting closer and closer to global famines, which is all a part of the end time signs Yahushua told his disciples to look for, to know that his second coming was near, and that the end of this current age of the heathen nations ruling was at hand before the ushering in of the kingdom of heaven, which will be for eternity. Let's get into some precepts. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. And we're seeing the beginnings of it right now. The beginnings of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Pray you're of that hopeful elect number of the nation of Israel, and that right now you're doing everything you can to stay in the good graces of your power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, so you can hope to have that protective hedge from all these different plagues and pestilences that are coming during Jacob's trouble. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. And hey, we're in the beginning stages of things right now, and people are still going about their daily lives hoping things get better, and you're going to have no cloak for your ignorance, especially since the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, have been out on the highways and byways, as well as putting up video epistles like this, warning you people, chiefly the nation of Israel, of the famines, the wars, the pestilences, the terrors, and all the horrors to come, and what you could do to be saved from it. But for the majority of you, 2/3, it's already too late. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. But as we're seeing, those victuals aren't being cheap for too much longer. Inflation and hyperinflation is starting to grip not only the United States of America, but the entire planet. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So to 2/3 of the nation of Israel and you heathen nations out there, if you happen to escape the famine, the only thing you have to look forward to is being judged by the sword. These race wars, civil wars, a state of martial law are ultimately being destroyed by one of those nuclear missiles when they're shot to the ends of the earth. And also, that sword can be a part of food riots and people being desperate and breaking into other people's houses due to a lack of food. As it says in 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword being, especially in America, the gun or anything else people are going to get their hands on. Literal swords, knives, sticks, bats, clubs, chains, Molotov cocktails, brass knuckles, you name it, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, the lack of bread, famines. And what did it say at the beginning of that second article? Most of my readers remember the global food riots that we witnessed in 2008 and 2011. And if conditions continue to deteriorate, we could soon be facing something even worse. And it's going to be much worse, because these are the plagues that Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is bringing to this entire planet to judge you people for your wickedness. Slakia. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung or crap, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There's going to be so much death and destruction and misery from the swords, the famines, and the pestilences that you're just going to become numb from seeing all the dead bodies and step over them and not give a second thought to those dead bodies like you don't give a second thought to that turd that you flushed down the toilet. So that's it with this video. This video was just another prophecy update to you sincere Akim out there, to just further let you know what times we're living in, and that you should be doing whatever you can right now to stay in the good graces of your power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, so you can hope to have that protective hedge over you to be safe from all these terrible plagues to come. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified, and as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.